Welcome back, guys. Spent all day yesterday getting storage moved and consolidated from a 10x20 to a 10x10. Look, my brakes, the calipers are sticking. I'm almost positive it's the rubber hose is, I don't know, on the inside it's deteriorating. When you press the fluid in, it's not letting the fluid back out, all the way or as smoothly. Or anyway, that's just my assumption. I don't know that that's what's going on. It's what I believe is going on. My brakes are dragging, and I've done felt the rotors on the back here, and it is chewed slap up on the inside. I'm fairly certain I got a set of pads around here where I did the other side just a couple of months ago, because it was doing the same thing. And what it's doing is it's holding that caliper's holding that thing up against the rotor, and it's just slowly wearing that inside pad down to a nub. The outside pad still has a little, but it's just holding that inside pad against the rotor pretty much the whole time you're driving. So I'm going to try to knock this off. I don't have anybody with me, or available to me to help me, press the pedal and bleed the brakes. Otherwise, I would just replace it, the correct way, the line and everything. I've got up here on this shelf the lines and everything I need for all the way around this truck. But my little Mighty Max or whatever, the little pump vacuum thing for the brake system, I never had luck getting it to bleed. I can pull fluid, this and that, but I never get a good pedal. I can never get it right. So I'm just going to put some pads on it for today to skate by until I can arrange some kind of situation with a friend or a family member or whatever to swing by one day when I'm put the brakes on, or take my vehicle over with the brakes and do it at their place and have it bleed it. Whatever, we'll figure it out. All right, guys, scratch a lot of that. It's quickly escalated, as things usually do with me. Went to put the pads on, get the caliper off, and I was pushing the pistons back into the caliper, and they would not move. I'd get one to move, the other would come out. They were just kind of back and forth, just a smidge, but neither one would go back. And then all of a sudden, one goes all the way back, and the other one comes all the way out. I had to go and buy another caliper, and I've got some pads sitting in that box right there. What was going to be a simple whatever pad swap, and I hate half-assing doing things. The only reason I don't want to do it all the way is because I can't bleed them. Well, now I've got to, and now I'm stuck. I'm by myself. Let's see if I can get this together. I got two hoses here. They're two different part numbers. So they are different than what's on the truck. Minor difference, but different. Will they work? I don't know. I'm going to dry fit it up and see, and try to, bleed it as best I can. I do have a set of plastic pliers. So I do have those on there, kind of just lightly pinching the line. And as you can see, there's still, a little moisture coming out, but not bad. This is when you see it shot it all the way over to the jack. That's when the piston said, and the other one came popping out. So that's what it did. It shot all the fluid that was in the caliper out. So I'm going to try to change that line. Let me see if I can show you. This line here, you can see it comes out, and then it's got a bend to it. These new lines got like a little chicane bend, but they don't bend towards me or away from me or anything like that. They're still, straight. They don't have no tweak to them. But we're going to find out if they work. Like I said, I'm going to dry fit it before I take the line loose from the metal line, wherever it is. Before I take it loose from there, I'm going to see how it fits up. Looks like it might work. All right, guys, I got the new caliper and pads on. I'm going to show you that line that I put on. So you see how it kicks out and kind of goes around the caliper there. then it just comes over and it comes back here and it hooks up to the factory location just fine. So even though this one clearly is bent differently, this one here, which is the same as what I put on, let me get out of the causing the shadow here, is the same thing I put on. This part number is this, and the one I put on is everything this but a 4. They're identical. I don't know why they have 2 different part numbers, but anyway, like I said, this is clearly different than this, but it works. Now, this I use, or try to use all the time, to bleed brakes. This thing sucks. This is no good. Or maybe mine's broke. I don't know. But anyway, this comes with this cup and various lines and fittings, etc. I've had mine for a long time, so it's all kind of whatever. But I used that in conjunction with this to at least pull fluid through the lines and get it and fill up the caliper and get it back here where it started pulling fluid out the hose. Now once I got fluid coming back here, I disconnected this. I just put this on the bleeder. I had my wrench on there. I hooked this up. I don't know if you can tell, but on the hose that you see there on the right hand side of that, there's a hose that goes down into this cup, and then this other side is open. Or maybe you can see the hose in there now. But once you have enough fluid in there so that the bottom of that hose is submersed and can't suck air, and I quite literally had it propped right there. What a convenient little spot. It just held it perfect. Just voila. And once I had that sitting there and I had it hooked up to the bleeder, I was able to go up there and press the pedal slowly and ease it back slowly and bleed the line, because even when I let off the pedal, it couldn't suck air. It was only going to pull fluid back. So I did that 3 or 4 times, came back here, checked it, pumped the brake 3 or 4 more times, come back here and checked it, closed the bleeder, went up there, refreshed the fluid in the master cylinder, and then turned around and fired up the truck so that the booster was helping. Pressed the pedal a few times until it got firm again, because it was rather soft. Came back here, reopened the bleeder while the truck was running, went up and pumped the pedal a few times very, very slowly, and the pedal got firm. It sat there, it was soft, a little firmer, and then firm. It didn't go all the way down. So clearly I haven't put the wheel or anything back on and took it for a drive, but I believe I've got them bled, or got this one bled. So maybe there's a one-man way of doing this after all. Years ago I used to use a Gatorade bottle, something very similar setup to this, and it would get me by until I could get somebody with a foot and give me a hand. I know you can't tell looking at this side, but the inside of this is rather grooved up. That's what I took off there. That is no bueno. That is no bueno. I mean, that's all the way down into the metal. The pad completely gone. This one, it's cracked and everything else, but at least there was still, an 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch of material. That one, gone. And all this that you see here, that's what the back side of that rotor looks like. So I'm going to eventually have to get me some new rotors. These are R1 rotors, and these are for the dual piston calipers that you see here. There is a difference in these rotors for single to dual. If you have single and you want to do the upgrade, it is a real easy upgrade to do, because they're all factory parts, as long as you don't go drill slotted. These came from an 05 and up, I believe, is when they started introducing dual calipers on the rear. Prior to that, like my trucks, came with a single caliper. I mean, a single caliper, a single piston caliper. I'll learn to talk here in a minute. But I had to buy a different rotor in order to run this caliper, and I want to say I had to snip a little, just a smidge off the backing plate because it's a little bit larger of a caliper, so you just had to snip a little bit. And you can use snips, you can use cut-off wheel, you can use a sawzall blade, you can use a paddle sander on an angle grinder. Might take a little longer, but you know it'll work. So it's easy peasy. You ain't got to change anything else. The banjo bolt and line will bolt right to it, exactly the same. Thread pitch and everything, it'll work. Brake line, exactly the same, works. Yeah, I mean it was a very quick and easy install to upgrade these to dual caliper. Since I had this off and the wheel had time to cool with me messing around with all this, I decided, I would try to clean on this some more. I showed you in one of my other videos that my wheels got stained. You know, some idiot at the car wash. You know, and I drove like 40 minutes to get there, so my wheels were smoking hot. And then he sprayed some kind of chemical, some kind of acid or something. And again, I still can't remember if these were completely polished. I don't think they were. I know they weren't mirror finish, but that seems about like the finish they were. This has been some work. I spent about 2 hours on these today. Now I went and bought that right there from O'Reilly's was $12.99. Lumibrite or Superior Aluminum Brightener. It's a gallon. You mix it 50-50 with water, and that's what this one here is with the red lid, and then that's just water with the blue lid. Went to Walmart and got those empty containers or whatever, but and then I used distilled water to mix and to put in that one. So I sprayed this on. I tried just spraying it on a paper towel and wiping. Didn't really do much, so I had to literally spray it on the wheel and then wipe it around with a paper towel, etc. And it seemed to take some of that blotchiness and stains and stuff, and it basically turned the entire lip right here almost white, kind of almost like a frosted effect or something. And I thought, oh God, I done messed up. But I used that white diamonds there. I had some others. Yeah, it's been here a while. That is no good. and that one's chrome polish there. So I just used the white diamonds. I was hoping I'd have something else to try. I need to go get some Blue Magic and I don't know, maybe some Eagle One or something. I don't know. But that's a lot better. I even went so far as to, while I had it off, kind of clean the backside. You know, just get the bulk of it off. So when I get this tire mounted back on, I'm going to take it for a forward and reverse little thing right here in the storage area, and I'll get back with you and let you know whether I have brakes or not. Well, guys, I just drove it around the storage thing here. I ain't took it out on the road yet, but I did some quick accelerations and some pretty heavy braking just to make sure the pedal wasn't going to slam to the floor or give or anything. And the pedal seems firm, seems fine, seems just like it was. I plan on just going ahead and replacing these brakes and doing a big brake upgrade, a factory big brake upgrade. I've had the parts for, I don't know, like probably 2+ years. Just been kind of waiting to do it. I wanted to wait until I was further along digging into the suspension of this truck and kind of doing it all at once. But due to the fact that I'm having issues, I figured, no time like the present. So as you can see, we got the wheels off on the front. What I have is a 2001 GMC Sierra with a dual piston caliper, factory. What I'm going with is a 2019 4-piston caliper for the same truck. You can get these off the shelf at AutoZone or anywhere else. You don't have to go Willwood or any of those other big brake things. This is a factory brake, and it will bolt up with very little modifications. And I'll show you what I have to do in order to get this to work. Those are the calipers for a 2019 Silverado or Sierra. As you can see, you got 1, 2 here, 4 there. You got 4 pistons in these. Now, as you can tell, mine are dusty. Like I said, I've had them a long time. I kind of dipped my toe into the powder coating thing with an Eastwood powder coating kit. Powder coated them. Well, first I had to grind these down. The casting on these things were absolutely horrible. But I had to grind them down smooth, try to line up the lines and stuff, because it was pretty bad. But when I done that, and I got all that done, or at least enough to my liking, powder coated them silver, and then powder coated this. It's not candy apple red. I'll have to look back into my powder over there and see what color, but it's a lollipop red or something from Prismic Powders. So you got your brake line. This next to your caliper. It goes up here and connects to the hard line. I put these plastic clamps, pliers, whatever, on this hose just to give it a little bit of a squeeze. Try to slow some of the fluid drainage down so it doesn't make as big of a mess. I already had this right here. Tried to take that 10 millimeter out, and the first thing it did was snap. They're pretty notorious for that. When I put this new one on, I'm not going to be able to bolt it, so I'll just probably put a zip tie or something to hold it out of the way for now. This is your ABS line. You got to disconnect it from this bracket here. There's another 10 millimeter right here that you got to take off. That's a part of your brake line. And it's got a little clip or whatever that clips on this side. But I'm about to pull this loose back here. This is an 11 millimeter on here. It is an 18 millimeter, not the caliper bolt. You don't want to take the caliper off. You want to take this bracket off. So the whole unit comes off as one. There's an 18 millimeter right there and one on the bottom. If yours haven't been off before, or if they haven't been off in a while, you're probably going to want to turn your steering so that you have better access and get you one of them. This is just a rubber one, so I can hit my wrench or ratchet or whatever, and knock it loose, because it's going to be stuck. From the factory, these things come with some kind of thread locker or whatever. But even if you don't, even if they have been replaced, the torque on these is ridiculous. I don't remember exactly what it is, but roughly 100 pounds, 100 foot-pounds of torque, and they're on there. So you will probably need either a long pull bar and turn your wheel so you can actually get in here and have room to maneuver it, or just get you a small sledge or a small rubber mallet, something you can kind of dead blow it or whatever, and get them off. And once you take them off, this is supposed to just come off. You might have to get a pry bar in here and try to pry it loose. You might be able to hit it with a rubber mallet here to get it loose, or here to get it loose. But basically you just take this off. Now once this is off, we're going to take our rotor off. These sometimes will need a little motivation. You just hit them with that rubber mallet around, spin it, hit, spin, hit, spin, hit. But it'll come off. They just get a little rusty. Try to give you a straight overview there. So that is the factory on top for the dual piston. And that is a factory size. Now granted, it's drilled and slotted because it's aftermarket, but the factory size is the exact same size rotor for the quad piston. So it is in fact a big brake upgrade. So I'm putting the rotor on. I put a couple of lug nuts on just to get it seated. So to make sure you got your caliper on the correct side, bleeder always goes up. So make sure if you're doing this, you put the right one on the right side. It is very important. This doesn't have the bar like the other unit. This is just going to be a solid unit situation. The problem is you got to get this centered on this. You don't want a huge gap on this side and it rubbing on this side, or vice versa. You've got to get it centered or close to center. I bought some washers online on Amazon based on somebody else's video that I saw of doing this. They're not quite the right ones for my situation. I wish I could tell you exactly which washers to get. I will link which ones I bought. But I think everybody's like the hub or the rotor or the caliper, everything's got a little bit of a fine adjustment. You know, some are wider, thicker, or something. I don't know, but because I've seen 2 or 3 different videos and them talking about 2 or 3 different sizes. So maybe there's not depending on the brand or the rotor or something, maybe there's some variances. I can't tell you for sure because I don't have experience in all those brands. I can just show you what I got and what I'm having to do. So this is the caliper. That's the caliper, or yeah, the caliper bolts, the bracket bolts. And this right here is what I ordered, an M14 14 millimeter flat washer. That's all it is. And I'm going to have to put on the other side. I've already done it. I had to put 2 of these on the, in between the flange where this bolts to and this to pull the caliper outward. This side, I don't know if it's going to require that or not, but I have some. I have several. So there's a 5-pack. I used 4 on the other side, so now I have the 5 plus the 1, so I have a 6-pack. Now another video I watched mentioned a different size here, and I can't read that right. Hold on. This just says an M14 flat washer 0.30. These don't have the 0.30. It just says an A2. I don't know what that said. I can't read it. Probably 1/2 inch as far as the hole goes. So when I take these out and I look at these next to these other ones, I mean, to my naked eye, they look the same to me. And this is a 0.30, so I'm assuming that's what that one is as well. Once I get this up here and I get it mounted, I'll move the camera this way so you can see what exactly I'm talking about that you got to do. Alright guys, I'm going to try to show you here. What we're looking for is this gap here and the one on the opposite side. Well, right up here. We want to have preferably the same gap. Now you can tell my inside gap is tighter than my outside gap, and that's with 2 washers. If I used 1 washer, it would be bigger on the inside and skinnier on the outside. So I really need one of those thick washers and one just a smidge thinner. The bottom, I don't know if you can see it. The bottom is basically the same. Got a little more of a gap there than I do there, but it's not touching. I'm sitting here rotating this thing so you can see nothing is Nothing is grinding, nothing is binding. Everything is good. In a perfect world, that gap would be exactly the same on both sides. But all you got to do, you see the washers there? I've got this line loose now. I'm about to pull it out of this up here. We're going to put the new line on and proceed to bleed them and get everything kind of buttoned back down where it goes. Let me get this these pads on. Oh, let me just say, this is my first time dealing with these this kind of situation. These have got to be the easiest pads to install and change. I mean, you got to take the caliper off. I mean, they drop in, and you got a little clip here with a couple of rods that go through here and just kind of lock and hold it in place. I'm going to get them bled next. After I get them bled, I'll come back in with you once I got the wheels on and show you what I got. You can see how ridiculous that bracket is right there, how excessive it is. And if I would have bolted this down, that would have dropped that part down. It would have been right on that sway bar. Now I'll show you on the other side. But I zip tied this up because I broke the head of that bolt right there. And I'm not going to sit here and drill it out. I got a new A-arm that'll be going on or whatever later. But when you put this on, and I don't know that this would have worked in its position over here. You see how much farther forward it is. You need to turn. And you see how taut that is? Now imagine that was up another inch. I'm fixing to go check the other side because it is bolted in. I somehow got it out without breaking the head off. And I'll show you how I had to bend this up to get it off the sway bar. But yeah, let's go over there and let's check that one out. But just try to make sure you check things like this. Even though this is Delphi, AC Delco, whatever, I think it's AC Delco, it's not made the same. It fits. It'd be nice if I could get this hose to move through this bracket, but it is pinched in there really good. Now I might get lucky by spraying some penetrant or something and getting it to move. I might try that here in a minute, but this is the way it is out of the packaging. All right, so let's check this side out. Make sure we got enough room. You can see that one's bolted in and how it is right here on that thing. Now this was down here touching. I put a flathead screwdriver in here and just pried it up. And this is still, you know, this part right here is still on the sway bar. You see we got some slack, but we're turned all the way this way. Let me, nope. See, we're taut right there. And that's more or less straight. So I'm gonna have to get in here and I'm gonna either have to get that line to slide inside this bracket right here, or I'm gonna have to bend that bracket or something. Something's way off. Because you see, I can't even turn right. And that's taut. That's already taut. And this bracket right here bolts in, so that I'd either have to get some lubrication and you know, get this to go through that one more, which I've got some slack over here, you can see, or I've got to get this one to go this way. So let me go get some PV Blaster or see what else I have, and I'll get back with you and let you know what the solution ended up here being. Also, I wanted you to see the bracket, how close it is to that spring perch mount there. Now it is not touching, and it will most likely work just fine. You know, this A-arm is going to go up and down as you hit bumps and stuff. You know, I don't think it's going to touch, but it is. See if I can get this in here in a way you can see. It is close down there. See that? I don't know. This bracket, I'm very unsatisfied, but I might be able to get a pair of vice grips and bend and tweak this bracket back towards me and see if that resolves any of this. But first, let me go get some PV Blaster, see if I can get this hose to move. All right, guys, I just bled them and I put the wheels back on, and I just took it off jack stands and put it down. I haven't even driven it yet. I just wanted to show you some of the things you got to watch out for. Now I had dry fitted these way back in the day when I bought them, so I knew they were going to fit, but that washer that I had to put on it made it even closer. I mean, you can see there's not a lot of room between that caliper and the wheel. Now if that one washer was a little skinnier, it'd be a little further closer. It would be no, it'd be a little further away. I'm sorry, a little closer to the rotor, not the rim. If that, but I mean, it would be thousandths of an inch. It wouldn't be much, but yeah, definitely. If you're going to do this big brake upgrade, make sure whatever wheels you got or you plan on running with them are going to clear. Where we left off earlier, I told you I had to get some slack so I could turn. I sprayed some PB Blaster silicone lubricant, and I was able to pull them hoses. I had to let it sit a little bit and I had to spray it a couple of times, and it still was a really taut fit, but I was able to pull them hoses. I got a little slack from the caliper to the bracket that's on top, and then I got a little slack from where it mounts to the hard line and coming back. So now I've got room to turn. The only thing is I got so much slack that when it turns this way, it's trying to hit the back side of the rotor. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. Might have to zip tie it or something. I don't know. Might need to pull just a smidge more slack out of it. All right, guys. I don't even know if I've clued you in. Maybe I did. This is Labor Day. This is Monday, Labor Day. And this is how I'm spending it. Labor on Labor Day. I like it. You can do this stuff easy. You don't have to be extremely mechanically inclined with YouTube these days, especially. It is so easy to be able to do things like this to your own truck. Save yourself a ton of money, man. Get by with DIY. That's the way I roll, and I know there's a lot of people out there like me. So just wanted to let you know this took me 3 hours, and I was taking my time, this and that, and I was being extra careful bleeding. I'm trying to make sure that I let off the pedal easy and all that stuff. I even cleaned the inside of the back, the inside of the wheels and stuff while I had them off. So I mean, and it was only about maybe 3 hours and 15 minutes total in doing all this, and I wasn't under any kind of pressure, any kind of, oh my god, I got to get this done or anything like that. So I mean, this is something you can do on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, or when you get off of work one evening, you got a few hours you can kill. You can knock something out like this. You can buy your parts a little at a time. You ain't got to buy a big expensive kit. Not that any of this is all that expensive, but let's say you're on an extreme budget. We could buy the rear calipers 1 week, or 1 month or whatever. Then you can buy the front. Then you can buy the rotors. Then you can buy the pads. I mean, you can piece this together very inexpensively. But I'll try my best to link everything in the description. I hope y'all have a great Labor Day. Be safe out there. The weather is beautiful. I don't know if you can tell, but the sun is shining. There's a little bit of a breeze. I mean, it's maybe 80 degrees, 82, something like that. It is amazing out here. Y'all be good. Y'all take care. Do what you want to do. All the stuff everybody's always telling you. See you next time, guys.